Hey, this is Pastor Mike, and this is Perkstream for March 29th, 2023. Jesus will be known by his scars. Thanks for joining me here today. I hope that you're having a great week. We are just a couple weeks away from Easter now, and in fact, a week and a half. And as we continue to reflect on that, I want to bring us to another awareness of what happened when Jesus went to the cross for us. If I met Billy Graham, if he was still alive, I would consider that to be a great honor. But Billy Graham once was introduced to a person who had been seeking him out, and yet by the time he was done talking with this man, Billy Graham said, "I am not fit to untie his shoes," and yet he was looking for me. Well, the person who was looking for him was a Maasai warrior by the name of Joseph. And Joseph had met Jesus through meeting a missionary near his village. And after meeting Jesus, he was so filled with hope and so filled with joy that he ran back to his village and he began to witness to Jesus' power in his life. Well, his villagers didn't have the same excitement. In fact, what his village did is the men held him down while the women beat him with barbed wire. And then they hauled him out of the village and he was left to die. Well, miraculously, he didn't die. He made his way to a watering hole, took a couple of days to recoup, and felt like he must have done something wrong. So he went back to his village with his message again, hoping that he didn't leave something out. And he began to proclaim Jesus. And his whole village turned on him again and began to beat him again and leave him for dead. They hauled him outside the village again. A third time. Second time he comes to, second time he recoups. This third time he walks into the village and the villagers see him and they're just like, "No, we're not having you even start preaching." And they start beating him again. And while they are beating him, while the men are holding him down and the women are flailing him with barbed wire, he begins to proclaim Jesus Christ, their peace, Jesus Christ, their forgiveness, Jesus Christ, their hope. And just before he blacked out, he saw the women begin to weep. And the next time he came to in his bedroom. And he came to the same people who were trying to kill him, now trying to help him recover, now trying to restore his health. They were bandaging his wounds and cleaning out his sores. They had come to know Jesus. They had heard the message as Joseph was blacking out, and they heard him, and there was restoration in them. They accepted Jesus, and they began to take this messenger whom they were trying to kill, and they were trying to restore him to life. Joseph is not known for the scars of being a Maasai warrior, for any of his exploits. He's known for the scars that he wears for Jesus. And this is a parallel that Michael Card draws, that when we see Jesus, we will not know him primarily in his glory. We will not know him for being King of Kings and Lord of Lords. We'll recognize him because of the scars he bore for our sin. It goes like this: when John was looking at the Lamb who was slain, who was approaching the throne, he knew it was Jesus, not because he was a lamb. He knew it was Jesus because of the scars. He looked like he had been marred and beaten. When the disciples in the upper room were trying to ascertain who just came into our midst, Jesus didn't start with, "I'm Jesus the Lord." He started with his scars. He said, "Come see me. Come see the scars in my hands and feet. Come feel the wound in my side. Know that it is me." We sing our love for our victorious King. We sing our love for the one who has risen again. But all of that came about because he was first beaten, he was crucified, and he died. By the world's standards, Jesus lost. But by God's standard, Jesus won. And now in his victory is marked by his scars. And Paul, who was also very familiar with suffering, said this. He said, I want nobody else to cause me trouble, for I bear on my body the marks of Jesus. Paul was flogged, he was beaten, he was stoned. He bore the physical marks of his witness for Jesus Christ. It's certainly easy for us to know that Jesus suffered and know that there are Christians who have suffered for their faith. It's easy for us to know. It's not as easy for us to suffer for the good news. But sometimes we might have to put up with a little harassment. Sometimes we may have to put up with a little pushback for our witness. In fact, right now, I'm pretty sure we all understand that in our culture, we who believe in Jesus, who believe that Jesus Christ is the only answer, we're seen as intolerant. We're seen as not in step. We're seen as holding on to an ancient way that has no bearing on today. And I say, Jesus has bearing in every age and in every season for the marks that he bore, because his marks bought our forgiveness. And if we bear any marks because we have been harassed, because we've been bullied, because we have been persecuted, we bear them simply because that's following in the way of Jesus. So when we see Jesus again, we will know him by his scars. We will know him by the wounds that secured our salvation. And if we pick up a few of our own scars along the way, let's remember that those wounds will bear witness to Jesus. And it may be that those wounds also, with our continued and steadfast declaration of Jesus, will be like Joseph's wounds. They will bear witness to Jesus and bring somebody else along to the good news, to the truth and the reality of the love of God displayed in Jesus Christ. If our wounds can do that, then that will make it worth it. Hopefully, what we have is that people will see that there are wounds that Jesus bore, and if they are in us, then hopefully they see that it's not just us, and it's not because that we are so good, it's because God is so good. So Jesus will be recognized by his scars. That's how we will know him. And when we see him, then we will rejoice. God bless you. Have a good rest of your week.